podcast. Fabulous. Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to do a little twist. I love my little twist. So it's still under the series Business Breakthrough. However, my guest is somebody who's helping the community, and I wanted to have actually somebody from the community to have a conversation with, because it's not all about starting your own business, but just to get the support of the city or the community to help you thrive. And I think this is one of the key most people don't realize. They can get the support of their cities, of their community as well. So her name is Hanna Klimmek. She was a program manager for the Central Minnesota Housing Partnership. So I want to know a little bit more about that. She became an independent agent for an insurance company. Then, and that's why I'm so interested to dive in, community development specialist for a county, for Anoka County. Then switch gear, which is awesome. Came into Big Lake, and I love the city of Big Lake. If you don't know Minnesota, city of Big Lake is one place to be. Seriously, the lakes are beautiful, the life is beautiful. It's a very small town, but a beautiful town. So she's a community director, a development director, a Big Lake Economic Development Authority executive director. Oh my goodness, this is a mouthful here, right here for me. And a city administrator. So I want to know more. First of all, hi Anna, how are you doing today?
I am doing well, thank you. And you?
Oh, just lovely. The weather is nice today. It's maybe raining, but so far it's warm. It's warm.
It's warm.
It's warm.
Yeah.
So we got the warm part of it. So I want to know a little bit more about you first. How did you get started, and what drive you to help the community first? Because you went and first did something with the county and the cities, but you did not want and decide to go to corporate and start a job in corporate. You went directly to help the community. Why?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if I have like a really good answer for that, but I went to school for mass communications, and I at St. Cloud State University. Graduated with that degree, as well as a minor in public relations. You know, many of my peers in school, they did go on to 3M, Target, big corporations. But I just happened to fall into community development. And I was hired by Central Minnesota Housing Partnership, which is a nonprofit in St. Cloud, and they serve an area of 16 counties in Central Minnesota. So there, I developed an interest through that leap into the nonprofit world, I guess, in housing. And so we work to and still strive to find opportunities for affordable housing. I mean, that's still a very hot topic, in this day. And it's been, since 2004, that's when I started. So we're still talking about the same things, But with the partnership, I worked in the community development department and mostly led what was called the Central Minnesota Continuum of Care. And so what I would do is write grants, federal, state grants to impact support services for homeless programs. So that's what I did for a good 7 years with Central Minnesota Housing Partnership. I then took a little hiatus after having my second boy and jumped into, owning my own business as an independent contractor for an insurance company. So did that for 8 months, then realized where I belong, and that is community development. So, you jump away for a little bit just to realize that, I was right where I needed to be, and was hired by Anoka County. So Anoka County, Anoka County is their community development specialist there, mostly working with federal programming and to rehabilitate single family owner occupied homes. So I would help homeowners who maybe need assistance in order to get their home more safe or more energy efficient or so forth. Maybe re-roof their roof, do things that were out of their means at that time. So we were able at the county to help them with a loan. And so they would pay back the loan, and then those funds would be utilized for another home. So worked with those with CDBG funds through the federal government, and I worked with home funds, and that's to rehabilitate multifamily housing. So what was the criteria for people to come to you, and how people knew you existed and help people? Because one of the biggest things that I noticed is a lot of people don't know that community and the cities can provide some support. A lot of people feel isolated. So how do they know where to find you? Marketing, so we would maybe do mailings through utility billing, that kind of thing. But honestly, here in Big Lake, we had a program to rehabilitate single family owner occupied homes too. And we went door knocking, door to door. So actually getting out there and saying, hey, would you qualify for this program? I'd love to help you. And so, that face-to-face interaction and marketing is best. But yeah, utilizing the website, social media, all those mediums that, to get to where people are, and hopeful, that they get the right information. So.
And that's why I'm pointing this out, because a lot of people don't realize that, or they think it's a scam, or they're not so sure, or they're wary that, oh my God, you're part of the city or the county. Are you going to go after me for something else? So why are you here for? Are you really here to help me? But they don't realize the help is right there. And the people who are really like you, went up front and meet with them and really are dedicated to help the community and improve and for sure for the safety of their families as well, make sure that their house is safe enough. So I think it's wonderful. So you made a switch from community development specialist to the county of Anoka to Big Lake.
Yeah, and so with Big Lake, I started here at the end of 2015 as the community development director, and then as well as the executive director of the EDA here. So with that charge, definitely this department of the city of Big Lake in 15 was reestablished in 15 after the recession. So it had been some time since our businesses have been honored, our existing businesses, and been some time since city staff has gone out to visit them, hear their struggles, hear their successes, and so we started the business retention and expansion program at the end of 15, where we visited as many businesses who would let us in their doors, because you mentioned, with government, it's difficult. You have to earn that trust, so
yes.
So I spent years doing that here in Big Lake and making sure I knew, who to contact for every business in the city. And then when we sat down and would begin our discussions, they knew who to call at the city too if they needed help. So developing those relationships was very, very important to me. So we found that to be highly successful, especially, with 2020 when that happened, all the businesses knew who to reach out to. And so we were very busy trying to make sure that they felt, they felt honored and helped. So, yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then being heard, and somebody would answer that question. So they knew who to contact, which I think is one of the major key. Did you ever share that process to any other cities or not?
Yeah, it's very typical of most cities to do the business retention and expansion program. There's a lot of cities that are out there for the chase, getting that new manufacturer, and that's always great. That's fun to do, to make sure that you're marketing to those businesses and welcoming them into your community. But I really believe and strongly believe that your existing businesses is where you're going to find the most growth for your tax base if you continue to help them. So,
okay. And have you, so let me ask you that question. Because you're doing this as a community development for that city, do you ever met with other cities around within the county and have conversation with them and share what works and what doesn't work and help each cities or help each others and say, hey, I have found that it's better to maybe communicate directly face-to-face with my business owners and have feedback from others? Or did you just keep your process to yourself, quote unquote?
Oh, no, we network here a lot in Sherburne County. So we work with the county, definitely reach out to neighboring cities all the time, even go across the river into Wright County, So, we're all a part of an association as well. And that's Economic Development Association of Minnesota, EDAM. And so we get together for sure twice a year at conference. And that's the time when we share all of these, stories, successes, and things that we wish we'd have done differently, or what we have learned from case studies, or, and so forth. So we have all those opportunities. And, I think that back in the day, economic development was, very competitive. And I there is still that competitive nature. But now, what happens in Becker, what the successes that Becker sees, Big Lake is going to benefit from. Exactly. the things that Big Lake, our big successes, our big wins, Monticello will benefit from, and Elk River will, and Becker. So we all understand that, and taking a regional approach is definitely a best practice now. So
I think so too. I think that it's better to work as a team than in silo, because silo you're limited, but when you work with a team and understand everybody has a different flavor for their own cities, but when you work together and not seeing yourself as a competition, then you get better things coming up. Maybe some business owners going to go to one city because they like the city better, which is okay. It's not a loss at all. It means that they're meant to be there, but it gives room for others to come into your community, or to Big Lake, or to Bakers, or to Monticello. So it's very nice to see that even though you are, overseeing, quote unquote, you're in Big Lake, you still have that networking and that collaboration. That to me is one of the bigger key for better businesses here. So you have supported the cities here for quite some time. So what have been the uphill challenge for you, and what do you see as a challenge that can be resolved, or we can maybe do something as business owners to help?
We've had some challenges that we've overcome. One of the big ones, I would say, when I first started here, was I would get entrepreneurs who would want to meet with me and throw ideas at me, and then ask, okay, so how do I do it? How do I start a business? And there's that's so much more. That's a bigger discussion than I think that I could get into with them. So we desperately needed in this area some coaching and a tool to do that. And Sherburne County started the Entrepreneurship Lab, and it's free. And so that was one thing that we were was a challenge, was helping these entrepreneurs with all the necessary things they need to make their ideas come a reality. And so now we have that tool for them. So it's really exciting that we can send them to an actual platform, and they'll get whatever they need out of that for free. Other challenges, I would say marketing has been a challenge, and the challenge that is before us is the fact that we just, as a city, haven't funded that yet. So, we have to be very prudent with taxpayer dollars, and do with what we can, so there's a lot of social media going on. We do, I would love to see Big Lake be marketed outside of Big Lake's walls, even Sherburne County, even the state. But it's going to take a little bit to get there because we desperately need to, tell our story and justify it to have our taxpayers pay for that. So that is, something that's in the works, but I would say that is a big challenge, is getting out there and having folks understand that Big Lake is here, so, and why, telling them why they want to be here. So. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a beautiful city. As I said, the lakes are a Big Lake. It's like immaculate. I love it. Yeah. I get my dog swimming in there too.
Yeah.
I can put my feet in there. It's beautiful. It's very clean. Love the camping. There's a lot of activities to do actually in Big Lake. That doesn't look like, when you look at the city, you don't realize there is so much beyond the city. And a lot of people come and camp and fish. There's a lot of good things. It's a beautiful space. There is parks. There's a lot of good things that people can do. So I love that. So outside of those challenges and figure it out, what we can do to expand and spread the word of Big Lake. What else have you noticed with, because I've heard a lot, and I'm going to be talking actually on the next at the Chamber of Commerce at the end of the month. I have to do a 30 minutes talk about social media and SEO actually.
Okay.
Be doing this. Yes, Gloria asked me to do that, and I'm like, not a problem.
That's great.
I am curious to know what other reoccurring theme has been coming back from the feedback from business owners. Something that, like for me, when I met with a couple of them, a few people in Big Lake, was one of the biggest challenge they had was how you bring back people in a store. Because that's been one of the biggest issue. It's like, okay, you have to change your business from the brick and mortar and do a hybrid with e-commerce. And some people have, made the transition and some don't, which is normal, because if you go to, let's say, a bakery or any store like that, then you still want to walk in. So have you heard anything that is a reoccurring theme, always coming back and people are talking about?
Yeah, you've noted one reoccurring theme, and I have defined that as the retail shift. I purchase from Amazon too, so but that is a reoccurring theme. Another is labor force.
Yes.
So we talk a lot about labor force here, and we're a manufacturing community. We're set up for much more manufacturing too. We can definitely call in for many more employers. But that is, I would say, probably the most reoccurring theme would be labor force, and how can we retain our current employees, but also attract new, and we even have them competing against each other, in Big Lake for their labor force. So, Premier Marine is one of our newest employers, and they will be the number one employer per their projections within 5 years, an employer of 500, which would surpass our school district. But I do know that they have been pulling from their neighbors. So, and it's just, that's the competitive, field that they play in. So, but I would say that would be the most. Trying to think of any other reoccurring themes.
And I think it has come across actually Minnesota, because I do consulting jobs as well, do contracts, and that surprised me when some individual called me a year ago and just said, oh, well, we have a contract. Can you take the contract? I'm like, okay. And I was surprised, saying, well, there is nobody else. I'm like, what do you mean nobody else? Where are people went? Where did they go? I'm like, it's been a mystery that the workforce did not come back. And it was like, come on. Did they all disappear? Did they went to an island? I don't know. It's been a very big mystery on how do you eat? How do you pay the bills if you don't go to work? I don't know.
Where are they? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it's been very, very interesting to see this. I understand the cost of life, the inflation we're going through right now, but still, it's amazing to see that a lot of people have not gone back to work or maybe some individuals as well, I think their fair market value are not realistic either based on their experiences. So they're expecting something higher when in fact, if you're looking at their experiences, doesn't match the required salary as well. So it's been very interesting and puzzling that how do, like you said, how do you retain and how do you bring the workforce into the businesses? So that's been very interesting as well. I was looking at the e-commerce as well and the shift. We talked a little bit about the shift. And one thing that people should think, because Dash and others now delivered from, so you can order and they can deliver. But the other thing too is to know and know the community is any information be giving of those sorts, or you think you guys could provide information like that? Because I don't know if you provide any, I don't want to say classes, but information which, you know, the e-commerce becoming more relevant these days. Now you can order online, and some business have understood that and moved to those apps, so it makes them accessible, but some have not been exposed to it. So do we think like the city of Big Lake will look at it and say, okay, maybe we could have some session or some information for people on how to do the shift from to the e-commerce?
I mean, that's a really good thought, and something that I'll definitely pass along to our new community development director who started last week.
Oh, goody.
Yeah. So she, I was gonna kind of have her join us, but that's for another time, because let's get our feet wet a little bit here. But yeah, we have a brand new community development director, new face, she'll be doing things a new way. She's also our new EDA executive director. Her name's Therese Hafner. Okay. And so she'll be working with, our business community and the business retention and expansion program that I discussed prior. It definitely needs to be re-upped, and this is a great time to do that now, coming out of, I don't want to say coming out of COVID, but I think our business community here is ready to again welcome the city in and to allow for discussion.
There is so beautiful little shop here. It's unbelievable. So even have a chocolate shop, guys. So if you love chocolate, you should stop by and be like, because oh my goodness.
I do want to give a plug for our school district.
Please do.
Because, in talking about labor force and the challenges that presents, our school district here in Big Lake has figured it out. It sets us apart from neighboring communities, from most school districts, actually. We have a principal at our high school. This has been his dream for a very, very long time, but he started the youth apprenticeship program in 2016. And the youth apprenticeship program is something that I've worked closely with him on. So the city and the schools have been working on this for some time, and it has exploded. We have students who are leaving the school district and going to work for our employers here, getting credit for high school, getting paid by an employer, learning on the job. Not everybody is meant for college. And our schools in Big Lake, I'm so proud that they understand that.
Oh my God, sorry to interrupt you. Oh God, I need a cocktail, and it's early in the morning here, guys. You know why? I had an interview that I did with a nonprofit organization. I'm going to put you in contact with. They're based in Florida, but they are everywhere in the US, actually. And I love those guys because what they did is exactly what you're doing. Mean for underprivileged children. They decided to go, and it's around Miami. They decided to go to those impoverished area where the schooling was so bad and the kids will end up in the street. They decided to talk to those kids and said to them, teenagers, and said, okay, what is your dream? What would you like to do? So some said, well, I want to become a lawyer. And like, okay, the door should never be closed for any kids. They took the kids for a week, sent them to work and observe a lawyer firm, going to the lawyer firm, follow a lawyer and see what they were doing. Then after the week, They said, so are you still interested? So some of them like, oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
And they sat down with them and said, okay, so if you don't want to do this, what are you good at? They sat down, look at their skill sets. And what they did is exactly what, and you guys, I need to talk to him. Actually, now you say that, I need to talk to that individuals at the school because I want to know his story and why he started that. But I need to put you in communication with that nonprofit. I will give you the name.
Okay.
And I will do an introductory email, actually. I am serious on this one. What they did is they've been able to help thousands of kids, not only in Florida, because they are taking that program and they are implementing it everywhere else, in every cities, to have companies to actually, like you did, like he said, do the mentorship, do the internship during the summertime, getting paid, learn the trade. And then at the end of it, when they're done with their trade, being hired full time. And that's exactly what they're doing. So I have goosebumps right now because I cannot believe somebody else's thought about the same idea and helping the kids. And that's what they are doing over there. It's better than the big brother and big sisters because they really are, from the beginning to end, really surrounding the teenagers, the kids. So they're not failing, they're succeeding, and they go into the trade or they go to university. Some went to universities, some went majority to the trade school, but they love what they're doing because they actually discover what they were good at. And instead of hanging up in the street, they have a job, they support their family, and they're helping. And that to me is a big win. So for me to hear what you guys are doing, it's amazing because that should be happening everywhere at every single school. Not everybody is good to sit behind, spending 8 hours sitting on a bench, listening to somebody. People have different skill sets, and it's amazing somebody has been doing it. So since when did he start to do that? Since when did he do that?
2016 is when the program started. And honestly, you know, the school district is, I mean, the heart of a community. You sell the school district when you're selling your city. And so it has brought in that program alone. During my 15-second elevator speech as to why an employer wants to be here, that program alone will pique their interest and be like, oh, really? The school's doing that? Because I mean, your labor force is your biggest asset. You know, so
exactly.
Yeah. And so they want to see that grow.
Exactly. And you're forming your next employee actually throughout the year. So when there's a holiday time, they come and continue to do their internship, they continue to learn. So you know this will be your workforce.
Right.
It's unbelievable. By the time they're done, you hire them right there. There is nothing else than he knows the job. You don't lose because when people don't realize is you invest on somebody, it takes a lot of time and money to invest on someone. You don't know if they're going to stay. You don't know, you know, because things are changing so quickly. Maybe the person is here for the wrong intention. And I was sitting on some hiring processes because I was filtering people actually, because I was asked to give feedback. And I was to the days. I said that person will stay for 90 days. And every single time it worked. He stayed for 90 days because their intentions was just to get a job. And they were not interested to grow within the company, which is a problem. But when you help children to figure out what are their trades, what are they capable to do, and you know what, plumber and electrician make more money than some people working in corporate. So I'm sorry to say that to you guys, but they're making way more money. So the trade is a good, we always need somebody from the trade. We always need somebody to build, we always need somebody to fix. So for me, it's wonderful because it gives possibilities and great hope in help the kids. So that's why I will get you in contact with those guys because to me it's amazing.
Yeah, I'll send you a video that the Youth Apprenticeship Program just did, and they just released it. So I'll send that to you
fantastic. As well. Yeah, because to me it's amazing to realize that somebody from school, somebody decided to. So who pitched what? Was it from the school district? They come and talk to you and just said, okay, we want to start this, or did you?
Yeah, no, it was the high school principal. His name is Bob Dockendorf. and we call him Doc. But yeah, he it's just a passion of his, and he built the program and now has released, he's worked with the state, on making sure that the curriculum is certified and okay. And he also sent his own staff to get certifications that they need to be a youth apprenticeship advisor of some sort. So he has 2 staff members that do that, if not more. But yeah, the program has grown so big that now Doc has basically, what he does is he stepped aside and he lets his certified leaders lead the program. Another thing that they did too at this school, and I've never heard of this anywhere, they had a little over an acre of land that was just not being used. It was green space. So they worked with the city on getting the, appropriate permits. But they turned that little over an acre piece of property into a sandbox. So what? Yes, so they partnered with a neighboring business that has excavation equipment.
Yep.
They bring this excavation equipment in and let the kids play. And learn how to run this heavy machinery.
Nice.
And that is a class. It's called the Sandbox.
Oh, I want to apply for that. I'm going to go and they're going to call the cops on me and say the crazy lady wants to do that. I want to go. I want to connect with him. I want to have a conversation with him on my podcast, but I'm going to ask to go there and play with the equipment too, because if they can do it, I want to play with it.
Yeah, no, I'll get you Bob's contact information too. I'll send it with the video.
That is fantastic. I cannot believe. See, this is what I love. A small community and somebody who cares. That makes a huge difference in the life of the children. And I think if everybody could take that model, and I hope by talking and by connecting you with that nonprofit, is being able to help other community to do the same, because it seems like you guys have already that process down. So it makes it easier for others, other school, other cities, other county, other state to exactly do the same or similar to it. So it gives a chance. Because for me, I remember when I was younger, and that was a long time ago in Europe, I talked about it. The fact that if your journey was decided at school based on what your parents were doing, that's mean my parents were not white collar, they were blue collar, which means they didn't want to give me access to university and college because of that. They decided I should be doing labor work, which is like, what? That's not what I want to do. And they were already deciding in high school without telling you, we're not going to give you access to the university. We'll not give you the paperwork. So there is a huge difference between what's going on today here in Big Lake to what's happened to me and other people as well in the world, because it's not only here or in Europe, it's everywhere. When they see a kid that cannot, who's not even interested, people need to understand, I was bored. I was totally bored when I was in high school. And because there were nothing that interested and triggered my mind at all, at all. And you look at what I've done in the trajectory I've done, you're like, oh boy. I'm like, yeah, I woke up afterwards because I had more things I wanted to learn, because that wasn't, nobody interested me. I don't mind to do the math. I love the math, but I was bored. The problem is some of those kids are more talented and don't want to be because they are bored, because that doesn't interest them. And I love the fact that you guys been able to see those children, and instead than relaying in the back of the school, don't even care about it, you instead bring the best out of them by helping them. That to me, it's a big kudos for the city, because you could have said no to him and just said, no, that's a ridiculous idea. And instead you embrace it, which makes a huge difference. To me, that's how you win. For the children, it's a win for the community. It's a big win for everybody all the way around, because it really acknowledge that you see those children.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have goosebumps. I didn't know we would go that deep into that subject. I had no idea. See, this is why I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to know, what else do you develop? What projects do you have going on that that you would like to share with us?
Well, just getting back to the development of the community, we've, like I mentioned prior, we've called in large employers. So now a direct answer to that is housing. If any community has growth in industry, you want to see growth in housing, the marriage of the two makes like an ideal situation. So we have completely exhausted our buildable single family lots. Like, we don't have any anymore. When I started, it was well over 1,000. We're a growing community and growing quite rapidly, actually. So we are seeing developers want to create new subdivisions, plat land from the very beginning and add to our lot inventory. So if everything goes through, we'll see probably around 500 new units of housing in the city of Big Lake here within the next couple of years. So, yeah. And we have folks who will call and be like, I can't find any housing. There's really we have a 0% vacancy in our multifamily rentals. So that's unhealthy. We would like to see about a 5% vacancy rating. So bringing in, again, more rental concepts would be great too. So, I think that there's some really exciting things happening here. We have a lot of zoned property that is ready to be built upon, and just waiting for those investors to choose us, those businesses to choose us. So we need to make ourselves known in order for them to choose us.
Exactly. And that's I think that's one of the biggest keys: make yourself known. Even if you don't want to invest much money into the marketing part of it, there is things that the city can do, like here, podcasts, they can do for free. And being able to spread the word, because this is a beautiful city. This is a great community. I love Big Lake. This is one of place that is very positive, but it's nice to hear how you guys are taking care of the city, are developing, are hearing your business owners, which I think is one of the biggest challenge right now. Like you said, we're turning a leaf, hopefully for the best. I think so. Looking at past history and centuries, we are turning the leaf for a better journeys and better days. But it's just a matter of continue to grow and bring back, the people within the store. And I know here, because we're in Minnesota, it's very cold in winter time. So hopefully we will not have too much things going on. But I like the parks as well, because we got a lot of parks here, camping, but parks. And it's amazing to see that Sherburne County, you have a lot of trails. And I don't know if people are totally aware of it, but it's amazing, not only for hunting, but just if you want to go into nature, it's just next door. It's the availability to see that's amazing. So it's very, very encouraging to see. But as I said, we're going to connect outside of here. And our next podcast then I will do as a collaboration will definitely be with our superhero from the school district, from the high school, because I want to know what got him started to do this, because it's amazing. For me, it's really show a community at its best and really caring for the next generation and how we can do to change everybody else's perspective, because when you're being cast out and not being seen as a kid, it makes a big impact in their lives. So it's wonderful to see that the city is capable to do it. Is anybody else's outside of the city of Big Lake has taken on that or not in the surrounding or not for that?
I know that Elk River has their own youth apprenticeship type program, but I'm not sure what the extent of it is, actually. So I do know that school districts from all over the nation have asked Bob Dockendorf to come and speak.
Who would not? Seriously.
Yeah. So that, it definitely has piqued the interest. But, the folks that want to develop a program like this need to be willing to do hard things. And this was a hard thing. Bob got a lot of pushback from their school board at the time. It's a new idea. You also have to sell the idea to all the teachers who all have college education. you know, who've all, you know, so there was a lot of selling this idea and a lot of pushback, but he persevered and was persistent and was willing to do the hard things. So
it's open. I think it's opening the mind of people and make them realize that, you know what, that can help the community and that will help the child, because again, not everybody is going to go to university, and that's okay. There is no shame on that. As I said, plumber make more money than a secretary or anything like that. So I will be like, okay. And it's more interesting too, because when you go on job site, it's always different from one area to another too. Think about that when you are in a trade. It's never the same thing. So, but I love the fact that he was able to conceive that and did such a great job. So I'm going to highlight that with him as well, because it's amazing to hear this kind of stories. This is what I love, is hearing stories and inspiration and listening to you talking and really hearing the caring part of it than you have, which is fantastic. It's like you're caring for the people, you're caring for the community, and it's transparent and it shows. And to me, you cannot get any better than that.
I love my job.
Oh, I can see it. The smile on your face. You cannot miss it. It's like, yeah. I totally understand, but that's fantastic. But no, thank you so much, Hanna, for taking the time today to speak with me. And I will put some information into, guys, when you're going to be listening to it, into the description of the podcast, so you know where to connect with Hanna. And we'll hear more from Hanna later on, probably sometime next year, and see what's going on in Big Lake, because I'm curious now to I do that once in a while. I reinvite people and say, okay, we're going to do another episode, by the way. Let's pass 6 months and see how you're doing and what's up with Big Lake, because I'm curious to know, so people can hear about that. So, but thank you so much. Yep. Yes, thank you so much. That was fabulous, and have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.